Good morning, guys. How are you? Sorry about the difficulty with the computer. It was just making a weird sound. Recorded 3 times, and anyway, got it fixed, I hope. So, we are going to go over chapter 3. Um, make sure that I'm getting everyone's homework uh, for chapter 3. If not, I will text you and let you know if I haven't gotten it yet. So, um, anatomy and physiology. So there were some videos that I wanted you to watch. Hopefully you already watched them. So we're going to talk about anatomy. Anatomy is how the body is structured. Um, it's the structure of the human body. So we all know that boys and girls are different. We have different anatomy. So how we're made up. And then physiology is actually how the body actually operates. Like you took PE, so you were moving and running, and so like physical ed, PE. So how the body actually works. Okay, that's the difference between anatomy and physiology. And then, so when we talk about in dental, this right here is your midline. This is your midline, okay? Um, you have your right side and your left side, okay? That is known as your sagittal plane. Then let's talk about organizations levels of the body. Sorry. Um, the human body has 4 organization levels or units. From the simplest to the most complex, they include cells, tissue, organs, and body systems. So cells are the smallest unit in the human body, very tiny. And then your tissues, oh, and there's approximately 75 to 100 trillion cells joined together to form special groups known as tissue. Tissues, you have 4 different types of tissues. You have your epithelial, which is your skin, connective, muscle, and nervous. So if you turn the page to page 22, epithelial forms the covering of all the body structures, lines the body cavities and hollow organs, skins, intestines, lungs, lining of the oral cavity. Then you have your connective. Connective binds structures together. Fats, tendons, ligaments, blood, bone, cartilage. Then you have your muscle, which produces movement of the body parts. Some people have bigger muscles than others. I have none. Nervous system is found in the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Creates awareness of the environment. So, like if we go to touch the stove and it's hot, we're like, "Ooh, that's hot." So, the systems of the body, there are 11 systems of the body. So, if you look on page 23, it talks about each one and breaks it down, each 11 systems of the body. So, your first one is your skeleton, and you have 206 bones in your body. It protects and supports the shape. Muscular, strengthen, smooth. It's straight, it's smooth. It holds the body fluid, uh, protection of body heat. Cardiovascular is heart, arteries, veins, and blood. So cardio is your heart. Lymphatic and immune system. So white blood cells, lymphatic fluid, spleen, tonsils. And then your nervous system, your senses. Respiratory is going to be your nose, your larynx, your how you breathe, your lungs, your trachea. Your digestive system, your gut, which my gut is getting way big. I feel like I constantly go to the refrigerator during this. So your digestive system, mouth, larynx, stomach, intestines. And then you have your urinary, which is your kidneys. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Bladder. And then your endocrine system is going to be your pancreas, your thyroid. It basically integration of the body's function, control of growth. And then your reproductive system, your female organs. Okay. How we make babies. All right. So turn to page 25. At the top, types of bone. So there's two types of bone. Cancellous bone and compact bone. So compact bone is solid. So your lower jaw is made up of compact bone. It's if you look on it on an x-ray, it's like solid white. So that is your compact bone. Your upper jaw, which is known as your maxilla. Remember, your lower jaw is your mandible. So your upper jaw is known as your maxilla. It is made up of cancellous bone. If you look on an x-ray, it almost looks spongy, like a sponge. So it's not as hard and dense as the compact bone. Anatomy of the skull. What protects our skull is the cranium forms the bony protection for the brain, is what I was trying to say. So your cranium forms the bony protection for our brain. Keeps it safe. Your TMJ joint, your temporomandible joint is right here. So when you open and close, if it pops, you've got a little disc in there, and that disc can wear thin or it can kind of move out of place, and that's what causes that popping sound. I shared a link to a video that I wanted y'all to watch on TMJ. Just go to YouTube, type in TMJ, and there's several actually videos of TMJ and how it actually works. I could talk about it all day long, but if you actually get a visual, I think it helps. So let's turn the page to page 28. So movements of the TMJ joint. There's two. There's the hinge action and the gliding action. So when you open your mouth, the first phase in opening your mouth is the hinge action. And then the second is the gliding action. The gliding action is the second phase in opening the mouth. So, and then it kind of glides. Major muscles, and I'm on page 30 now. So major muscles of mastication and facial expressions. Mastication means to chew. So when you're chewing, you're masticating. Masticating is to chew. The muscles of mastication are responsible for closing the jaw and bringing the lower jaw forward and backwards and shifting the lower jaw from side to side. The muscles of mastication work with the TMJ to accomplish these movements. So, blood supply to the face and mouth. So, arteries actually carry oxygenated blood away from the heart to all parts of the body with a pulsing motion. Veins carry the blood back to the heart. So, I want to talk about your trigeminal nerve. So your trigeminal nerve kind of comes off your ear right here, and it's like this in your face, okay? And the trigeminal nerve is a branch of the fifth cranial nerve. It's the primary source and nerve supply to the mouth. And so then that goes into your foramen. You have four. You have two here. Like if you looked at a skull, you would see that it had two holes right here and two holes right here. And so the blood supply and the nerve supply comes through your foramen to your face. So on the bottom there on 31, a foramen is an opening in the bone which blood vessels and nerves and ligaments pass through. And on the top of page 33, you can see in purple what the trigeminal nerve looks like. So turn to page 34. So there's features of your face. There's a lot of different features of your face. But one is your philtrum. And your philtrum is right here. I think it looks like a candy corn. Some people say it looks like, or some people call it an angel's kiss. But how I remember that this little thing right here is your philtrum is Dr. Phil has a mustache right there. Philtrum. And then you have your mental protuberance. That is the prominence of the chin. Some people have a really big chin. Some people don't have a chin. But some do. I think I have one. Pretty sticks out there some. Anyway, zygomatic arch. That's the prominence of the cheeks. So some people have high cheekbones. That's your zygomatic arch. Prominence of the cheek. And then there's other things. Your anterior narstralis, which is your nostrils. All right. Let's move on to tongue. So your tongue. The tongue is one of the body's most versatile organs and is responsible for many things. Talking, chewing. No, not chewing. Talking, positioning food by eating, tasting, cleansing of the oral cavity, swallowing. So your tongue is your dorsal, and on top of that, you have little papillas. And so I gave y'all in your binders a little handout. It's just a cute little handout, and it tells you different sections on your tongue that are responsible for the taste of sweets, sours, bitters. It's kind of interesting. All right. under your tongue, you have a band of tissue that holds your tongue. That is known as your frenum. You also have a frenum. If you stick your tongue in front of your teeth, you have a band there. And then at the top, you have your frenum there. So you have 3 frenums, and it's just a narrow band of tissue. And sometimes if someone is tongue-tied and they talk like this, they need that frenum snipped. They'll get it cut, and then it allows the tongue to move more freely. And that's called a frenectomy. You can watch on YouTube a frenectomy procedure if you want, so you can see what I'm talking about. Also, too, sometimes in the front, if it's too tight, the teeth will start to separate, and that's when there's a gap between the teeth. And if you remember one of your vocab words, that is known as a diastema. So, but sometimes people have a diastema and it's just hereditary. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need a frenectomy. All right, the other day we talked about hard and soft hard and soft palate. The roof of your mouth is your palate. So if you put your tongue straight up, that's your hard palate. If you put it more towards the back of your mouth, it's your soft palate. Then, have y'all ever brushed your teeth and you gag? Ugh, I hate that. That's your gag reflex. It's just an involuntary thing that our body automatically does. It's just it just happens. It's sensitive back there. All right. Alveolar process is just a fancy word for jawbone. Alveolar process is your jawbone. So, Charlie. Your alveolar socket. So if you lose a tooth, there's going to be a hole in your gum. That is known as the alveolar socket. That's what holds the tooth in the jawbone, is the alveolar socket. Oral mucosa. Oral mucosa, that's the lining of your mouth. So, have y'all ever gotten a piece of like a chicken breast and it's got that thin layer of skin? It's almost like that, just not as gross. But oral mucosa is the lining of your mouth. And then masticory mucosa, it's a little thicker. It's stronger. It's tougher skin. So that way when we eat chips, something crunchy, it's not just tearing our mouth apart, cutting up our gums. Gingiva is a fancy word for gums. So, I don't know if y'all have any questions. If you do, text me. And I hope this video was a lot clearer than the other 3 that I made. So, and we will definitely go live on Monday. And I'll be at the school and on the overhead. So Monday will be fun. And if there's, like I said, any questions, text me. All right. Have a good day, guys. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.